Football is the most popular sport in the world with a huge global reach across all continents and nations. A sport that is adored by many and brings people joy, sadness and nostalgic memories to those who enjoy it. However, despite all its popularity, the beautiful game does have its flaws, particularly in the refereeing side. And with the implementation of VAR in recent years, this doesn't seem surprising. So in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at 10 of the worst rules in football history. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10 on our list is the fact that you cannot score an own goal from a free kick or a throw-in, which at first does seem kind of strange. I mean, if you throw the ball into your own net, surely that constitutes as a goal. Well, no, as if for whatever reason a player was to throw the ball into their own net, this doesn't even count as a goal. As a throw-in, free kick and even a penalty is a play that restarts a game, meaning a player cannot score an own goal from any of these situations, as long as no one interferes with the ball. Number 9. A player cannot touch the ball twice from the penalty spot. Now at first this seems like a very obvious rule, considering the fact that a penalty is just one kick and one attempt at goal. But it does go a little deeper than that. For example, if a player was to take a penalty and the shot hits the bar and comes back to them, that's an easy rebound for them and an easy goal to add to their tally. Well, unfortunately for them, this would be ruled out and wouldn't stand as a goal, as technically the player has touched the ball twice in one penalty play before anyone else has even touched the ball, ruling the goal out completely. Number 8. The foreign object rule. Now, as many of you are probably already aware, usually when a foreign object is thrown onto the pitch, such as a flare or a bottle, or even a pig's head in the case of Luis Figo, the game will be stopped completely until the said object is removed. But if the referee does not see the object that has been thrown onto the pitch, then the game can continue. And if the foreign object was to interfere with the game and lead to a goal, for example, then there's nothing the referee can do about that. Literally, as the law states that if the referee didn't see the object and it interferes with play, they cannot do anything to reverse the decision. For example, when Liverpool played Sunderland away in 2009, a Liverpool fan threw a beach ball onto the pitch in the middle of play, and after Sunderland striker Darren Bent took a shot that deflected off the beach ball and went into the goal stood, as the referee didn't even see the beach ball in the first place. Now for number 7, it's only right that we go with the 7-player rule, which states that teams are allowed to start the game with just 7 players if they really wanted to, instead of sending out a traditional starting 11. And well, obviously this is quite an old rule, and with the huge size of squads teams have nowadays, this isn't really much of a problem. But back in the day, things were a bit more difficult. For example, if a team didn't have enough players to make a starting 11 due to injuries or illness or any other factors, they could just simply send out 7 players, as this is the minimum requirement for the game to start. However, if any of these players were to get sent off, then this would stop the game completely, as there are now less than 7 players on the team. Number 6 on our list is the fact that players can be sent off before a match has even started. So for the more aggressive players out there, this isn't good news. Now, although this is a rare occurrence and most red cards are done on the pitch, a player can still technically be sent off before a ball is even kicked. Having been introduced in the year 2016, this rule is fairly new to the game of football and was brought in order to stop players and teams getting into fights before the game has even started. With the most famous example of this being in 2017 when Man United legend Patrice Evra was sent off for kicking a fan during a warm-up whilst playing for Marseille. Number 5. Now again, this is another fairly new rule, having been introduced in 2019, and to be honest this one is just more annoying than weird, and it's the fact that a player can still be booked for an illegal celebration even if the goal didn't stand. For example, let's just say you scored a 90th minute winner for your boyhood club, and in celebration you take off your shirt and jump into the crowd to celebrate with the fans, just to find out that VAR has ruled out your goal. And the worst part about all of that is that you're still going to get a yellow for taking your shirt off. Number 4, protecting the keeper. Now I'm sure if you played football with your friends in the past, more often than not you have probably tried to boot the ball out of the keeper's hand a few times to just try and get a cheap goal. And at one point this rule was actually legal in football up until 1997, where if a keeper had one hand on the ball or the keeper wasn't looking, players from the opposing team could come in and kick the ball out of their hands and score into an open net. However, football lawmakers decided in the new rule that keepers needed to be protected after too many keepers got injured after opposition players tried to kick the ball out of their gloves. Before we get into the top 3, if you guys could do me a massive favour and hit the subscribe button if you're new around here. We're trying to grow the channel as much as we can, so any support would be appreciated. Number 3, no substitutes. Yes, you heard me correctly, no substitutes. Now, particularly in today's game, substitutes are absolutely vital and essential to every team out there, especially at the top level, providing the solution for players with injuries, players who are tired, or to even bring on a super sub for a last minute winner. However, before 1958, this wasn't even allowed, as substitutes weren't even a thing, meaning that if any player was to get tired or to get injured, they could either carry on or the team would simply be reduced to 10 men, and the game would continue, putting the opposing team at a major advantage. Number 2, the golden and silver goal. Now if any of you have played FIFA before and you have drawn a game in kickoff, you'll know that there's an option to go to golden goal, meaning whoever scores the next goal wins the entire game, and this was once a rule in football, but very quickly quickly people started to realise how flawed it was, as every team would just sit behind the ball and not even attack the goal, and would just end up wasting game time, as well as being completely unfair. And after strong opposition to the golden goal rule, Sepp Blatter's FIFA introduced the silver goal, meaning that if a team was to score in the first half of extra time without conceding the entire half, then they would win the whole game, which is even worse than the golden goal rule. However, not surprisingly, these rules held strong oppositions from many fans around the world, and was eventually scrapped in 2004 after Greece won the Euros. Number 1. Now this rule is probably the funniest and strangest of them all, which is why I've put it in number 1, and that is the NASL penalty shootout, which was invented by the USA and implemented in the early MLS days and the North American Soccer League. And to be honest, if you're calling football soccer, what do you expect? With the rule being that instead of players taking an actual penalty from the designated penalty spot, players would start on the outside of the box on a line and were given a one-on-one opportunity with the keeper to try and score, which was implemented to make it similar to hockey, but unsurprisingly this rule didn't last long and was quickly abolished. So there you have it. Those are 10 of the worst rules in football history. Let me know what you think of them in the comments, and do you agree with any of them? And if you're looking for another video, why not check out this video here on 10 of the worst contracts in football history. And as always, if you're new around here, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. This has been Discussing Ball.